All right, what's poppin', guys? Today I have a Twitter Q&A for you guys. I posted a tweet telling you to ask me some questions. Right now I'm going to answer them. And yeah, see if we can make this a regular thing because I don't post videos. So it would be cool to just answer your guys' questions, talk, build that connection, you know. So first question from Joe, my man. When did you really start to self-improve and take shit to the next level? Honestly, it was since the very beginning, really. Like, my mom and dad, they weren't very active, and I wanted to be active. I lived in a pretty small town, and there was a community gym there that I wasn't allowed to get into until I was like 16. So I asked my dad to buy some adjustable weights. He bought them because he wanted to actually start himself. I'm pretty sure he was doing like P90X at that time, and that's why he bought the weights. So I started out with that and was doing like wrist curls in my room at night and would do like floor press with the dumbbells until I got to middle school and I could do things like after school weights and eventually go to the gym when I was 16. And yeah, the story really goes from there. In terms of taking shit to the next level, that was kind of quite recently. It was probably a year or two ago, about the time when I had to step my game up in terms of freelancing and just starting on Twitter. Like, I knew that I could freelance for the rest of my life and just get client after client and lose a client here, gain a client there, and just be stuck in that endless cycle, right? It's kind of like a 9 to 5 all over again, but in this case, like, I can do what I want during my day, but that's not what I wanted, right? That's not what anyone wants. They get started in online business or anything for that matter just because they want to be more free, right? I want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want throughout my days. And in order to do that, I have to step my shit up. That's why I started a Twitter account, to grow an audience, to connect with you guys, to build those relationships that could turn into more clients or partnerships, which actually just started. So that's really when I started taking shit up a notch, is when I realized that I had to start doing more if I wanted to achieve the freedom that I was looking for, right? Next question from Nikita. How do you approach sales through Twitter or any social media? I'll just add on any social media. Do you have a formula, or is it highly customized per person or somewhere else in between? What advice would you give yourself when just starting out with cold outreach on Twitter? The cool thing about Twitter is that it's very personal, right? You connect with people not only in the DMs, but in the replies, right? I kind of have my group of friends on Twitter that I interact with and reply to on a daily basis, and I retweet them, they retweet me. You know how it goes. But in terms of that, that's kind of how I approach sales on Twitter, is through forming that relationship and that connection. And to do that, I need to be following them. I need to be interacting with them. They need to know who I am before I even get into their DMs. So it's a much longer process than just cold emailing someone or connecting with someone on LinkedIn. And you can do it that way. You can just hop straight into someone's DMs. That does work, but I try to work with people that know me. They know what I'm about. They know that I like to maintain my reputation, so I'm gonna do good work for them. And that's really where it all starts. And then after that, it's hopping in the DMs and asking them what they're doing, right? Just connecting, building off of the connection we already have. Like, what's up, man? How are you doing? Are you working on any new projects? They'll tell me a bit about that. I'll ask like where they want to take that. Why are they starting that project? What are they currently working on? And where are they looking to take it? And then that question is the moment where I'm just like, oh, I have one of two answers to that, right? It's like, oh, that's cool. Good on you. Nice talking. Or it's, I try to get them on a call and talk to them more about it in a genuine way. Because when I ask them what they're working on, I can either see myself working with them on that project and getting them better results on it, or I can't. And there's no reason to try and pitch my offer to them. So ask them what they're working on, ask them where they want to take it, and then I can give them some helpful tips, or I can just say, hey, this is what I do. I'd love to hop on a call sometime and talk about it. Then I get on a call, and it goes from there, right? That's really how simple it is. Like if you're hopping into people's DMs that they already know you, then it's so much easier than just hopping into someone's DMs cold. But in that case, I would personally, I've done this before, I just send them a video DM. It's much more personal. It makes them watch. It compels them to respond to you. So I'd do a video DM. All right, so next question, Victoria. What tactics do you use to build an audience on Instagram? If you do, if no, what other platforms do you use? So I use Twitter. On Instagram, I have not cracked the code for growth. I've paid for growth. I've paid for shout outs. I've paid for, shout out my man, Pascal. He's Wiz of IG. He's probably watching this, but he has a service that helps you grow pretty quick. And so do other people. But I have not cracked the code to growth. Instagram really isn't my main thing. Twitter is. Eventually I want to get more into Instagram. I post on there consistently, but for Instagram, I don't really have a method aside from paying people for shout outs or growth that know how to do it. Or if there's a big account that kind of posts the same content that you do, pay them for a shout out. Most of them offer shout outs, and then you can gain followers that way, but it can get pretty expensive if that's what you're trying to build your audience on in the first place. In terms of Twitter, the tactics are pretty simple. It's you reply to other people, you post high quality shit or things that you vibe with, and kind of like concepts that people relate to, but through your own filter, right? And that's really it. You post a good amount, 3 to 5 to 7 times a day. You reply to people, big accounts, you have a conversation with them. Don't just reword what they say. You want to like add on insights that would make people want to click on your profile and follow you. And then have your profile to a point where you have a good profile picture, you have a professional banner, and your bio tells people exactly what they're going to get from following you and how you can help them achieve a specific result that you've already achieved or that you've helped other people already achieve. And just emulate the accounts that you want to be like. Of course, use your own discretion on this. You don't just copy people. You see what's working and you make it your own, right? All right, next question from Saurus. Best way to collab without looking like a leech? It would depend on what kind of collab. So if you're talking about something on social media where you like help each other grow or you promote products from each other, things like that, you just got to build a connection. That's really it. You have to have something of value to offer, right? So you may be talking about in the sense of like freelancing and starting a project with someone. In that case, seriously, just build the connection, have a professional profile. Like if you're hopping in their DMs, they need to know what you do and that you're taking this whole thing seriously. If you're reaching out from Twitter, your Twitter account needs to look like you actually take it seriously, right? And from there, you can do the same thing that I talked about before with replying to people, building that connection before you even hop in the DMs. And then when you hop in the DMs, they kind of know who you are. And then you can start discussing like, here's what I have to give you in exchange for what you can give me. So if you're looking to build someone a landing page and you're offering to do it for free because this is your first client or possibly your first client, then that's really it, right? You're offering them a landing page of value for free. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but the best way to look like a leech is to genuinely just not be a leech. Have something to provide so you're providing that equal value both ways. Okay, next question from Vlad. What's up, Vlad? Do you think one can get clients as a freelance web designer without a phone call in the beginning. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible, but I just wouldn't get in that mindset, right? You're gonna have to get on calls eventually. Why not just start getting those reps in? And you're gonna have higher chances of actually landing the deal if you do get on the phone. Now, if they're extremely busy and you send them an email and they're like, all right, let's do it, then boom, you got the gig, right? But I wouldn't try to do it without a phone call, right? I would just have that as part of your sales process. Next question from Henry. What's up, Henry? Is it better to create a brand using your name, i.e. Dan Co., versus a business name brand, or can you do both? You can do both. I've seen both done where it's like in your name, it's like Henry Sales Closer, or in some cases it's like Dan the web design guy or something like that, and then the brand name. But the thing with personal brands and branding as your own name is that the first con is that you can't sell it down the road. I mean, you can. I've seen it done. I believe like James Altucher sold his personal brand, but he's still the face of it, right? They're using his face as a way to grow that brand. But I frankly don't know anything about that, so I couldn't tell you about selling it. But a personal brand is good for, it's just good in general. You can use it for so much leverage. Like people always say, oh, you can't sell a personal brand, but you can build a personal brand and enjoy it and just do whatever the fuck you want with it. And then if it grows and it gets big, then you can use it to grow other companies. You can grow your own company with it and then sell that company, and then you still maintain your personal brand. So that's really my thoughts on it, is like a personal brand is good because you're more personal with people and you have that leverage, but a business name or an anonymous account, just for that reason, can be sold down the road, and you can kind of have it tied to your name. So it's really personal preference. I chose a personal brand just because I didn't really put much thought into it. Like I could start an anonymous brand right now if I wanted to, but I'm just going to stick with my personal brand because I can leverage it into more clients. I build a reputation for myself, and down the road I can just use it for infinite leverage. All right, next question from Andy at Brother Startup. What have you learned on Twitter? I've learned a shit ton on Twitter, okay? When I first got onto Twitter, I was just a web designer. I understood freelancing to an extent. I mean, I sold a freelancing product, but before I even started, I was kind of following accounts and just soaking up information that they were giving out. Like before Twitter, I didn't even know what copywriting was. I didn't know what it meant. And just people telling me to learn copywriting made me go and buy courses and study it like crazy and start implementing it in my own business. So I practiced it a good amount. And that made me better with copywriting. So I've learned copy, I've learned how to sell better, I've learned how to refine my freelance processes. I literally would not be where I am today without Twitter, in business or on Twitter, of course. So my business would not be where it is, and my Twitter would clearly not be where it is without Twitter. All right, so next question. I'll put you on the screen. It's just a leaf emoji, but what tips or lessons do you have for pricing brochure sites early on, or short-term projects in general? My main thing with pricing is like don't overcomplicate it, right? I personally just had like a minimum of 15 to 2,500. I would always try to land the clients for 2,500. That's just my price. Like I set my price at 2,500 and I sold at 2,500. And then for some, I also tried to sell higher, right? So for some, I knew that 5,000 was a better price. For some, I knew that 2,500 was a better price. But it's really up to you. Like if you've studied your niche and the people you're selling to enough, you should know what they're able to afford. And 2,500 isn't a lot at all if you're targeting people that have some money to spend on a website. If you're saying early on, so without any clients, like if you do not have any, I would either charge a very low price, like 500, 300 or 500, or just do it for free. Like if they need a new website, like desperately need a new website, just design it for free, send it to them, and you're good to go. You have a portfolio piece. Cool. So next question from Financial Books. How hard was your journey and what did you learn from it? Okay, so the journey as a whole, I've learned everything, right? Everything I know now, I've learned from the journey as a whole. I'll say from like business, I've still learned a shit ton, but I would say to distill this down to one lesson, let's say the journey from the start of my online business to now would be that it's really not as complicated as people make it seem, right? You choose a business model that you want to go into, you niche down a bit, you see what other people are doing, whether it be like a Twitter account that you want to be like, or an agency that you want to be like, and you see what they're doing, and then things start to click and you're like, okay, like this is why it didn't work for me the first time around. Now this time it's going to work because I have these pieces of the puzzle that I was missing, right? So it's the lesson in that is that it's just iteration. It's constant iteration of like, hey, this isn't working. I need to take a piece out and put a new piece in and see if it works. And if that doesn't work, then I need to do it again. And then if that works, but there's still a problem, I need to take that other piece out and I need to put a new piece in and just continue doing that for life, right? All right, next question from Joseph Long. What can a total digital stranger do to start earning on freelance websites? Someone that doesn't know a thing about digital skills. And where is the easiest freelance sites to start with? I'm not familiar with freelance sites. I've never been on one or like been a seller on a freelance site. I just went straight into being like a freelancer for myself. But for like Fiverr and Upwork, what you could do is see what is selling very well. And this is me just guessing. It's going to take some work to get some clients, especially on the freelance sites. See what is selling well. And since you don't have any previous experience with, like you don't have the digital skills, you need to learn the digital skills, right? You need to learn them enough to be on par with some of the people that are selling well. And then if you enjoy your time there, you can take that skill, you can turn it into your own freelancing offer and start reaching out to businesses to sell to. Next question from Eddie Cheng. Has Twitter become your 9 to 5? No, not really. It's really not that time consuming. If you mean, I'll exchange Twitter. I understand what you're trying to say here. So I'll exchange Twitter for just like each part of my business, like what I do for work on a daily basis, right? And I would still say, no, it hasn't become my new 9 to 5. It's still a lot of work and I've added a lot onto my workload recently. But I can record this video and it's 4:51, so it's almost 5, but I can record this video. I go to the gym at like 1 o'clock. I wake up and get to my desk around 8. I structure my own day, right? So it hasn't become my 9 to 5. And the main goal, of course, with all of this is to work my way out of it. Not really Twitter. I like Twitter. I don't think I'd really ever like work my way out of it because I enjoy it. But in general, no. It's a good amount of work right now, but eventually I'll see my way out of it. Okay, next question from Litho Plushy. Is there such thing as over self-improving that will drive you away from a state of stable self-acceptance, fulfillment, and happiness? Or is it an infinite staircase in which things keep getting endlessly better the higher you hike? Basically, is the grass always greener above? And if it is, Is it wise to always keep chasing for greener grass regardless, which might prevent you from enjoying the current patch of nice grass to which you were able to make it to? Whew. So after thinking about this question for a while, I don't really know the answer, right? I feel like you do improve up until a specific point, but at that point you're just trying to, you're maintaining your habits and you're maintaining your quality of life, right? When you are working out, if you're natty, if you're natural, you can get to a specific point where you're gonna top out and you're gonna reach your limit, but that doesn't mean you should stop working out, because it's just a good thing to do. It's a good thing to ensure good health and just give you something productive to do, right? So it's not like you get to a point of self-improvement along your journey where you're just like, okay, I've done enough, time to let everything go, right? I would argue that maintaining your quality of life that you've built and maintaining those habits is technically still improving, right? If it's a small amount, it could be a very minuscule amount, but you're still improving and you're still maintaining that quality of life, because it's very easy to let your habits go. And then at that point, you just decay extremely quick. You lose all of your progress, and that is not what you want. So yes, there should be some form of self-acceptance along the entire journey, right? If you don't, if there is no self-acceptance, it's going to be very hard either way. You just know that you have to get better. In terms of fulfillment and happiness, it's the same thing. If you're not happy now, you got to do something to get there. And then once you get there, you need to maintain it. All right, my boy, Matt Lillywhite, one of my favorite Medium writers. So follow him on Medium because I love his articles. If you lost everything and had to restart building a personal brand, what would you do on day one? Whew. Day one, wow. I was expecting that to be like an overall, but on day one, what would I do on day one? I would start building connections immediately, because I know that like just being a cool person is one of the main things that matters, right? You have to be like a cool, normal person that people would want to interact with and grow with. And your network is your net worth. So I would immediately start engaging with big accounts and just adding on my insights, showing that I know my shit, but at the same time, like saying it in a way, I always say this, but like replying to people like you're texting a friend, right? Whatever lingo you use when you're texting a friend, you use that, you build that connection, because everyone on Twitter, I've been on calls with so many people, like 100,000 follower accounts, where you get on a call with them and you just realize that they're a person just like you, right? They shouldn't be put on a pedestal. It's just like they're a normal person. So if you're interacting with them like they're a normal person, they're going to treat you on the same level that they're going to treat you like you're on the same level that they are. And that's how you're going to grow a lot quicker. So I'd focus on that. And then I'd focus on quality content and defining the things that I want to post about. Okay, so last question from Metaphaneron, something like that. How to transition from platforms like Upwork to Twitter. So as I said previously, I don't have much experience with those freelancing sites, but I do have experience with freelancing and landing clients on Twitter or just social media in general. So what I would recommend is study the people that are on Twitter. If you plan to do this only on Twitter, then your service needs to be tailored to the people that you are selling to on Twitter. So I'm assuming it's going to be people that have a decent amount of followers, because you know that they should have some money, right? But there's a few different niches that I would recommend targeting on Twitter, and that would be personal brands, course creators or info product sellers, consultants, and there's also some agency owners and like e-commerce founders, but those are personal brands as well. So I would figure out what problems they're having in their business, right? I don't know what skills you use on Upwork, but let's say, for example, you want to target an info product creator. And then you kind of have to, what you should learn is a specific skill that would solve a problem within their funnel, right? So funnel consists of their top of funnel, so Twitter, their actual content. Can you help them create better content? Their landing pages for all of their offers. Can you help them write better sales copy for that? If their offers just suck in general, can you offer marketing consulting? If they have a high ticket offer, can you take over their sales calls and offer commission-based closing? If they have an email list, can you take over their email marketing and get them more sales? And really that's kind of it. If they have landing pages, you can do web design. But yeah, that's it. You need to fix a leaky hole in their funnel. All right, that is it for this Q&A. I really enjoyed it. I like these questions. I appreciate you guys for asking the questions. And yeah, if you guys like this, I'll do it again. But that's it for now. So I'll see you next time.